Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. Many questions have arisen regarding the number one piece of evidence in the case against Mr. Koberger, the K-bar sheath that was alleged to have been found at the crime scene November 13th, 2022. There's always been questions regarding that sheath, starting from when the affidavit of probable cause signed by Detective Brett Payne, December 29th, 2022, right there on page 2 of the PCA. The sheath was later noted by him. It doesn't say that he immediately saw the sheath on the 3rd floor where Madison and Kaylee were. It says specifically later. That always raised a question, at least in my mind, because that room was not that big. When he talks about standing in the doorway, noting the sheath on the bed on the right side to Maddie, he says he was escorted by first responder Corbin Smith. Another question that's arisen is Corbin Smith's report of that day. Doesn't mention a sheath, doesn't mention Brett Payne at all, much less walking Detective Payne through the property at 1122 King Road, while the PCA says right there, page 1, that Detective Payne was escorted through the house by first responder Smith. Another area of concern regarding the sheath was, of the 5 first responders who we understand were in the house at 1122 King Road by 12:15 p.m. on November 13th, 2022, do not mention a sheath in any of their reports. And that would be Officer Smith, Officer Warner, Officer Nunez, Sergeant Gunderson, and Officer Snyder. Officer Snyder took photographs inside that room before 12:30 p.m. on November 13th, many hours before ISP did. There was no talk on the body cam footage from that Sunday into the evening. One would have expected by at least the night of November 13th that everyone in that house would have been talking about the discovery of the sheath. We did a recent series of presentations that we call 3 Days in Moscow, because that's the 3 days that that sheath spent in Moscow rather than being immediately taken to the ISP lab in Meridian for testing day 1, November 13th, to see if there was any DNA on that sheath from the perpetrator or perpetrators who already had an 8-hour head start because the 911 call was not placed until just before noon. The timeline of the crimes per the PCA started at 4 a.m. If you have not had an opportunity to review that content, 3 Days in Moscow, please do. We have a link in the description to this podcast episode. What we have for your consideration, that there was never apparently any intention that the defense would ever challenge chain of custody of the sheath. It's in documents that we pull from the record that we're going to be going over in 3 episodes on our YouTube channel. One addresses the motions to suppress evidence filed by the defense. The second addresses motion in limine filed by defense. And the third is the trial brief, the roadmap for how the defense was intending to defend this case that was submitted per a court order in April of 2025. Those 3 items, the suppression motions, the in limine briefings, and the trial brief, we believe will show that there was never an intention to challenge the chain of custody of that sheath. And the question that we're posing to you rhetorically is, should there have been? We hope that you'll join us for our 3-part special series on this topic. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.